Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. The Jim Kuhlman Insurance Agency. Insurance for auto, home, renters, personal and business, life, health, and even your pets. Call Jim and his team at 541-753-2500. JimKuhlman.com. 85% of jobs and internships come from a strong network. The book, Networking for Students, is available from Amazon. Students with soft skills are more successful. Networking is a skill that will be used lifelong. Good networking skills instill confidence. Find the book at networkingforstudents.com. Guild Mortgage. Contact Buddy Puckett to find the loan that fits your life. Hundreds of loan products tailored to your needs. Guildmortgage.com and call Buddy at 503-851-8031. And now let's get on with the show.
And let's get on with the show. Here we are. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott on this amazing, amazing Wednesday morning. I tell you, here in Oregon, it's been beautiful and sunny. How is it there in Texas, Scott?
Oh, it was beautiful. It rained overnight, so kind of the Camelot thing. A little bit of thunder, nothing too serious, but it is a beautiful day right now.
Awesome.
Here we go. Yeah.
The rain just freshens things up in the morning. That's all we need. So yeah, I'm just so thankful. This has been a great week, and I hope all of you watching are having an amazing, amazing week. We are here on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And guess what? We're here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time or 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time. And so if you want to join us every week, we would love to have you because we have amazing, amazing guests. As my good friend Scott would say, we have
the most remarkable people on the planet every week right here.
There you go. It's amazing. 7 a.m. Pacific. And guess what? If for some reason you missed that, then it sits on YouTube and LinkedIn forever. It sits on Facebook for 30 days. You can go back and watch the video live stream and video podcast. But guess what? There's still more. If you don't have time to watch it, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, whatever your favorite podcast platform is. We converted over to podcast within about a week. And so you can listen to that as you're driving, getting ready for work, jogging, whatever you like. And so we have so many ways to do that. And we also encourage you, if you could please, please, please share this with your friends. Get it out there. In fact, right now, share it. Even if you're watching on replay, share it with your friends. Show them. Tell them Kate is coming on. It's going to be amazing. You don't want to miss it. You can just tag them and let them know that we are on today, and we would appreciate that. Also, want to tell you that Scott has created a nifty little local.theexperience.video site you can go to learn more about Scott and I, more about this show and our other shows. And we would love for you to be part of that. Love for you to subscribe on our YouTube page, which you can get there from local.theexperience.video, or just go straight to theexperience.video. That will take you directly to our YouTube page and subscribe today. In fact, if you haven't done it, I tell you a secret. I know me. If I don't do it right away, I'll forget. Go up and open a separate tab right now. It's okay. We'll let you do it. Open a separate tab and just subscribe right now. And then you'll be done. We've got over 200 episodes of this amazing show that you do not want to miss, plus our other shows. Right, Scott?
Yeah, I encourage people to go to local.theexperience.video. The summer road trips are coming, and you'll want to have us on your Spotify, on whatever podcast player. Listen to these remarkable people, and you say, Russ and Scott, they're not bad, but those guests they have, oh my word. Over 200 episodes, hundreds of guests, literally hundreds of guests have been on this show. So subscribe, but go to local.theexperience.video and do a couple of things. One of them is for free. Just follow us on YouTube. And then if you said, you know what, where's the tip jar? I want to I want to give some money to these guys because you know what? I know it costs money to have StreamYard, to have these different services to make sure that we keep Ever fed because she does so much work for us. Scan that QR code that you see on the screen, go to local.theexperience.video, click on the link, and fill the tip jar.
Well, we really consider this a ministry, actually. And, we have amazing, amazing sponsors that we talked about before. Guild Mortgage, Networking for Students, and State Farm, and Jim Coleman. They're amazing. So we are sponsor-driven and listener-driven. So thank you for being part of our community. We appreciate that. And Scott, I am ready. I'm excited to get Kate in. She's got lots of great information. I think we should get her in and get things rolling.
Absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Miss Kate Pilkington. How's it going, Kate?
Hello. I'm fantastic. I'm fantastic today on this beautiful Wednesday day.
Yes. And how is the weather where you are? You're in a different place than we are.
I am. I'm in the UK, so I'm on the England side today. It rained this morning as usual, and then the sun came out for a little bit, and now it looks a little overcast, so it looks like it might rain again, but fingers crossed it doesn't.
I'm guessing the weather there, Kate, is a lot like Oregon, probably not a whole lot different. So, but yeah, it is so awesome to have you here. We had such an amazing conversation, and I would love for you to tell everybody, because those watching today probably don't know, who in the world is Kate and what are you up to?
Ah, fantastic. Well, my name is Kate Pilkington, and I am the CEO and owner of a home health care company called Riverpath Care, which is located in England. And so from my accent, you can probably guess that I am American. But my parents are both British, and I moved over to the UK almost 11 years ago, and I've continued to work in healthcare, which has been my journey from the age of 14. And I wanted to be able to bring a little something special over here to the UK, and hopefully blend a little bit of what the American culture has into the British culture, and take the best of both worlds and create something that moves healthcare forward.
What are some of the things that you see right off the bat that people would notice immediately going from one side of the pond to the other?
In healthcare or in general?
In healthcare.
In healthcare. So one of the things that I have done over here is I wanted to make sure that there was more of a medical or clinical oversight. They call it health and social care over here for home health care. And it's really based more on the social aspects of care, even though we're providing that direct care to individuals to help keep them independent and support them in their own homes. But it's really based more on the social side of things. They allow the medical, because it's socialized medicine over here, what they do is you have to call your local GP, your local doctor, if there's any issues, and that's who is monitoring really from a clinical aspect. So what I wanted to do was make sure that there was a little bit of both over here. So for me, it was important. I have hired a nurse to oversee my services as well, so that every client that we have and support has that medical oversight, a little bit of a clinical oversight, so that we can be proactive instead of reactive to everything and taking it directly. Just it gives the opportunity to not have to call your GP, although obviously that's what you need to do, but they don't believe that every client needs to have a nurse overseeing or any type of clinical piece unless that client actually has a need. But I choose to be more proactive. And for me, that's bringing the best of the American model, which is really a clinical or medical model, versus the social model. So it's trying to combine those two things to make sure that there's an equal balance. And for me, I'm a social worker by background, so the social side is really important, but I also believe that the clinical medical oversight is just as important, to make sure that we are doing the very best for all of our clients that we have.
So we had a great discussion about all this and all that you're doing, and what do you specialize in, and what is your real heart after as far as clients?
So I've worked with all sorts of different clients over the years, but really what I enjoy working with are elderly clients and those that have dementia. I think we're doing a lot of training with dementia. I incorporate people who have young onset dementia into our training courses, so they are actually helping us and teaching our caregivers today about what dignified care looks like. So we're hoping to be able to set a real standard here in the UK so that everybody has the opportunity to have the best of the training of what's important with dementia. But I've been working with the elderly since I was 14. So that's really where my heart is with all of this. But I like all the other populations as well. And, learning disabilities, or intellectual disabilities, I believe is what they call it in the US now. The, challenging behaviors. I love complex individuals and like to be able to try to give them the best lives possible. But elderly care is really where my heart belongs.
So you were 14.
I was 14. Yes,
How did you get started then? That's a young age for somebody to be working with seniors.
It is indeed. My mom was a private duty caregiver in one of the local nursing homes. And so I used to go up after school and volunteer because I had nothing else to do. And so I had a real education at the age of 14. And way back then, they allowed people to do a lot more than what they do today without the proper authorizations. So I learned how to, I've seen at the age of 14, I was watching patients be catheterized. I was passing out food, feeding residents, and did a lot of activities. So that's how it all started. And then I went to college. And when I graduated from college, I came back and ended up, that was my first job after college, I was the activity, helped with activities and was the social worker at the same nursing home I volunteered at the age of 14.
And what did you study in college?
Sociology, psychology, criminal justice, and Spanish. So I had quite a
wow.
I had quite a journey, and I found social work just a little bit too late in my degree. Otherwise, that would have been my formal major. But I did go on to practice as a social worker later on. Yeah.
Well, that's all those areas kind of reminds me of my college career. I just threw everything at the dartboard and kind of just waited to see what stuck. And then I came out with a degree. So anyway, so you and I were talking because obviously all three of us have a lot in common. In fact, Scott's beautiful wife has a show called the Aging Better Network that you're familiar with.
Yes.
And also my mama and my dad were in senior care, senior living, on hospice. Both have gone to heaven at this point. So I went through the whole entire journey with them. So I've seen it from the outside and the inside because I deal with a lot of senior communities. In fact, I just spoke at one last week. And so I get to see them from different directions. And I think that gives me a really good perspective on what's going on. And it is so important, somebody that can advocate and someone that can direct and help and guide through the process, because going into it, I had no idea. So talk a little bit about how you help people through that process.
Yes. Well, I think there's a couple of things, and I think there's good work being done in all countries, well, at least the two that I'm most familiar with, the UK and the US. But the good work is being done in pockets, and you're absolutely right. It's so incredibly important to find and figure out how to navigate, because it's not easy, and it's not easy in either country. So because of my background as a social worker, I think having the entire family involved in care is incredibly important. And so for me, it's two things. One, incorporating every client that we have. We insist on having a family or group conversation so that everybody's on the same page. And the technology over here is not so fantastic. And so I've spent a lot of time working on our technology side so that family will know exactly what's happening with their loved one. And so it's a portal that they can access. So, and the whole idea is that we give more information to the people that need it. So if you're, for example, if I'm looking after your mom, and you're at work, you want to know if your mom's having a good day or a bad day, and you want to know what that caregiver did in the home, not just a tick box exercise to say, yes, we gave your mom a shower. Yes, we fed her food. You want to know if your mom, was singing at breakfast. She told us she was going to have a shower, or if she chose not to have a shower that day, and was very confused. And you want to know what it is that we did. And so we try to make sure that you have access to all of those notes in a timely manner. So really in real time. So that's one of the things that we do. And I guess that probably goes back to answering some of the other questions that you had asked earlier, Scott. But I think your question, as far as how do we work with people, for us, there's a couple of different ways that we try to get our information out. We are in the process of setting up one of the very first non-paid caregiver or family caregiver conferences, which will be held in early 2026. No one has done that, as far as I am aware, here in this country. I just went to a conference in the U.S. in Baltimore, Maryland, called Exposed Dementia. It was absolutely fantastic, probably one of the best conferences that I've been to. And the whole purpose of it was to be able to bring and expose the word dementia and share the different resources that are available to family members, because that's the biggest challenge I think that people have. They don't know where to go to get the resources. And so they rely on case managers. If they know what a case manager is, a geriatric case manager, they rely on different services. And again, those little pieces are everywhere. But the more exposure that we can bring to the local public, then the better off everybody will be. Again, a lot of great work going on in both countries. It's just, how do you get the word out to people about what their options are? Because sometimes it's very limiting in both countries.
It's the information that's the critical part, because my experience, and this started when my father passed away, and he had been overseeing the care for his mother, my grandmother, who was living with dementia in a facility, and I had to take over.
Yeah.
And everyone that has to do this for a spouse or a parent or another loved one, it's as if this was the first person who has ever had to enter the system. And there's a lot of knowledge out there, but it's in pockets.
It is.
And so you talk to one person about assisted living or memory care, and they know a lot about it, but they don't know anything about veterans services or Medicare or what kinds of supplemental insurances are required.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to know more about this and how, I love this conference, and I think that's really a good place to start. So tell us more about the conference. How's that?
Certainly. So the one that I just went to, they asked us to come over. So I took a representation for people who understood the South African core group, the British core group, a little bit about what India is doing. And we brought that over, and we did a presentation on what dementia looks like in other countries. And they wanted to use the liberal arts in order to really bring this forward, because the person who put it on is an author and a filmmaker. And so they had lots of different snippets of different films that were made about dementia. So it really brought everything forward in an entirely different way. They gave a dementia experience so that, people could really understand what it feels like to have dementia and to be confused, to be given instruction when somebody's talking behind you. You have earphones on, and there's so much different noise going on, all the traffic, and then you're expected to perform, with gloves on, and you're like, I can't it was a fascinating experience. And to hear everybody talk and to share their all experiences, it's all exactly the same. As a caregiver, especially a family caregiver, everyone experiences exactly the same feelings and thoughts. And some days are better than others. Other days you wonder how you're going to get through the day. If your loved one is not having a good day, they're on your last nerve, and you're not supposed to, be angry or have feelings. You're just supposed to love somebody and take care of them. But sometimes it's very trying. And so there's lots of good books, lots of great people. And that's really what the conference was about sharing those feelings, sharing what the resources are. And so what we're going to accomplish in 2026 is to bring some of those folks over, but also incorporate some of the authors and people here in the UK so that we can really share what the resources are available. So financially, it's different over here than it is in the US. And so, but it's not easy to fill out the paperwork. People don't even know that there's paperwork to fill out and that they can get help and assistance. So, and depending on where you live, there's pockets, some are better than others about helping local families. So making sure that there is a financial assistance to make people aware of what those resources are. Again, Go ahead, Russ.
Oh, no, I was going to say, right. I'm just agreeing with you because what you're talking about is help and resources is huge. People don't realize if you're watching today and you haven't had to go through this process, you have no idea. You have no idea. I mean, I had no idea. So you need people like Kate to help you through. And this is the time when you don't need it to make alliances and connections and community with people like Kate. So when the time comes, that is what helped me, Kate. And you and I talked about that. All of the community that I had that was in senior living, in hospice, all of these things that walked me through the paperwork and through the process and told me what I needed to do, things I would have never had any idea about. And so I think that is so important. So what I want you to do is just really kind of recap that again to everybody to make sure they know the resources that you have and the things that people might need. What should they be looking for with a senior parent or grandparent?
I think it's really important to try to find somebody. I like to call myself maybe a dementia concierge. That they have a group that's called dementia doulas, and they are certified, but I don't think many people know what the term doula actually is. So we'll just call it a concierge. So whether it's dementia or any other type of healthcare, finding out what your options actually are, and financially is probably the very first place where you're going to have to start, because depending on how much resource you have independently will determine what you're actually able to do, which is the saddest part of all, but it's true. So that's where you start. So whether you're in the US or the UK, sometimes they have different funding pots that will help, or that you can utilize. So whether that's a nursing home, whether that is a assisted living facility, if it's home health care, hospice, whatever it is, it's important to know what the options are available to you. If you have more funds, then hiring somebody in the US, like a geriatric case manager, they're the ones that will have all the resources. So finding a specialist, independent specialist is what I would actually recommend, because they will give you more options. They will tell you exactly where to go, where to find it. You could access all sorts of different websites, and every website will tell you something a little bit different. And it will take you hours and hours and hours to sift through it, and you still don't really know anything at the end of the day. So I'm trying to bring everything together. So for end of life, for dementia, whatever it may be, the more knowledge that I have about the local resources, then the more I can share with people, and they can make informed decisions about what their options are. And I think that's the most important thing, is for you to be able to make an informed decision about what you can and cannot do with your loved one.
Yeah. And some of the things that, Kate, that you've talked about is we need to update the way we do stuff. Right, yes, as a society. And talk about that and what you see in the future.
Yeah, I think technology will be the biggest thing that we're looking at, and that's one of the things that we're actually trying to put together here in the UK. But it will have global implications. So it's not just made for the UK. There will be super apps, that as a customer or as a patient, because we're all patients at the end of the day, instead of having to fill out the same paperwork every time you go to the doctor's office, 20 different times, or if you have to go see a specialist, refilling out the forms, you should be able to take your healthcare records with you. You should be able to have everything in one place and space, and you should have control and ownership of that information so that you can make informed decisions again about what it is that you would like to do with your life and or share with different doctors or specialists. So that's one of the things that I think hopefully we'll be able to start launching something by the end of this year, if not sooner. And we do plan on bringing something to the US, which will help with all of this, because there's, no matter which country you're in, technology, it's only as good as garbage in, garbage out, as we all know. But I think AI is really going to help move things forward as well, and it just gives so many different opportunities. Working with a company now, it's called EverFriends AI. They have an app in the US. It's just launched over here in the UK as well, and it's to help combat loneliness. Loneliness is one of the biggest issues that seniors face, but it's not just seniors. It's all sorts of different populations. You have your veterans, you have, your widowers, you have children, that have some type of disability, or just children in general, and so this particular app it's just a supportive friend is what it is. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes coming through AI, which will help bridge some of the gap, and through technology.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's so much at our fingertips. We just have to have somebody like you to guide us through it. And so, yes, I just appreciate what you're about. To give everybody just a wrap up, your gold nugget of what you want them to remember from today's discussion, and then let everybody know how they get in touch with you so they can get more information.
Yeah, certainly. So I think the takeaway from today is to find that expert. If you're lost and you're not sure what to do, it's just like anything. If you want to learn how to cook, you go to the best chef. They can tell you about the ingredients. So find someone who can help you, who is knowledgeable about the local community, and can give you those resources. Second piece, I would say, be open to the new things that are coming onto the market. So take a look at AI. I know there's a lot of ethical concerns and considerations with AI coming in. It's not going to, it won't eventually take over everybody's jobs, but it is something that can really help us all through, in the future. And if anybody's interested in having further conversation, they can go to my website, which is www.riverpathcare.co.uk. You can see what we have here in the UK. You can contact me. I do have WhatsApp. And is there a way that we can, you've got my email. Yes, kate@riverpathcare.co.uk. You can contact me through LinkedIn. I'm happy to have conversations. And if I don't know anything about your local area, I am more than happy to put you in touch with somebody who can help you.
Awesome. So great. Boy, I tell you, I needed you back at the beginning of my journey, and thank God there were people around me that were like you that helped me out. And so thanks so much again for sharing this with us today. You've got so much vast knowledge and information. We're going to have to do this again sometime. We're going to have to bring it back on and have another talk about it. But Kate, thanks so much for being here today. We're going to send you out to the green room, but hang tight for just a second after we say goodbye, and we'll talk to you there.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. See ya.
Bye.
Such great information. And again, it's just, I encourage people to just add Kate to your Rolodex, if you know what that is. Add her to your contacts right now. Reach out and say hi, because you or someone probably in the next 6 months is going to need this information.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let me tell you, everybody, Scott and I have already been through it. You don't know until you absolutely need it. You don't know what you need. And
right.
I was so blessed to have so much community in the senior living areas that helped me so much. I mean, I can't even begin to tell you. It really became, I had people hold my hand through the process, and it became really, and not I don't know if enjoyable journey, but a joyful journey, because I could love and spend time with my mom and my dad and not have to worry about all the details, because people were helping me with that. So anyway,
that's a key thing is the not getting caught up in all of those details that prevents you from enjoying that time that you have with your loved one.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Scott, any last comments as we wrap things up today?
I'm just going to tell everybody, reach out to Kate and add her to your contact list. Say hi to her. And if possible, take a little trip over to the UK in 2026. Why not? You got a
There
good
you go.
excuse.
For sure, for sure. And so all of our information is in the comments and the show notes. Has been ticking along the bottom, and it is clickable. Everybody, you click, go straight to Kate today. So do that. Also, don't forget the local.theexperience.video for more information on Scott and I. We are here every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time and 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time.
There we go.
For those, there you go. And so listen, also, this just stays on all the platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you missed it or you just joined us, please watch on replay, please comment and still connect with Kate. And if you missed that, you can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, any of the podcast platforms that you love. We will be there. And until next week, Scott, we're just going to say goodbye to everybody. Have a blessed week, and we'll see you next Wednesday, and enjoy
the experience.
Woohoo! See you, everybody.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.